Have you ever imagined a poor man staring at a lion walking towards him as if death was summoning him? That's what happened to Harun that morning. The city of Fustat has just opened its eyes. The light of dawn touched the market walls. Harun stands with the last 2 jugs he made last night. His hands were rough. His eyes were tired. He whispered, "If this jug doesn't sell, my family won't eat today." The wind changed. A noisy sound emerged from the edge of the city. People run. Merchants drop merchandise. A palace guard shouted loudly, "Amir al-Mu'minin's lion is free from the cage." Fear swept through the markets like a hurricane. Harun was stunned. His legs felt heavy. From the end of the hall, a huge lion appeared. The pace is slow. His head was straight. His yellow eyes scanned every frightened human. Harun grips the jug until his veins bulge. His heart was pounding hard. The lion stopped. People hide behind doors and carts. Harun didn't have time to move. A small child fell right in the middle of the road. He broke down crying. His mother screamed for him. No one dared to approach. The lion turned to the child. His growl shook the air. Harun felt his body tremble. But he also saw something no one else noticed. The lion's shoulder was bleeding. The wound was gaping. His breathing was heavy. It seemed like every step was filled with agony. Harun looked at the crying child. He looked at the wounded lion. He looked at the jugs he was holding. He knew those 2 jugs were his only hope of sustenance today. But he also knew the child would not live if no one took action. "O Allah, strengthen my heart." Harun sighed and then took a step. His steps were unsteady, but his eyes were firm. He lowered the jugs to the ground. He crouched slightly and stood between the lion and the child. His mother screamed in panic. The lion let out a low growl. Harun felt the heat of its breath touch his face. He wanted to run, but his legs refused to let him. He said softly, "I didn't come to hurt you." The lion approached until he was only an arm's length away. Harun felt the world grow silent. Then something happened. The lion didn't pounce. It simply stared at Harun with eyes filled with pain. Harun realized the lion wasn't hunting. He was calling for help. People were surprised to see that Harun hadn't fallen prey. They began to emerge from hiding. Among them was an old market guard named Salman. He looked at Harun with tears in his eyes. "Young man, if your heart calls you, continue. Your path isn't over yet." The sound of soldiers' hooves could be heard in the distance. They were approaching with their bows ready. Harun turned to the lion, now weak and on the verge of collapse. It was at that moment that Harun realized something that would change his life. Poverty wasn't his greatest enemy. Fear was the enemy that had been holding him back. And his next step would lead him to something he never imagined. Harun stood in the middle of the still chaotic market. The lion stared at him, breathing heavily. Behind him, the child had been picked up by its mother and led away. But the problem wasn't over yet. The sound of hooves grew closer. Soldiers appeared, their faces tense. Their bows were pointed directly at the lion. One of the soldiers shouted, "Move aside! That lion is dangerous!" Harun raised both hands. "Wait! It's injured! It won't attack!" The soldier shook his head. "If we don't kill it now, the city is in danger." Harun raised both hands. "Wait! It's injured! It won't attack!" The soldier shook his head. "If we don't kill it now, the city is in danger." The lion winced and swayed. Harun saw blood falling to the ground. He bent down to calm the animal. At the same time, someone grabbed his shoulder. Salman stood beside him. His voice was low but firm. "You've made a big move. Don't stop now." Harun whispered, "I'm just a potter. I don't know how to deal with a lion. I don't know how to deal with soldiers either." Salman stared at him. Sometimes, the poor don't lack wealth. They lack people who believe they can. The lion suddenly collapsed to the ground. Its growl subsided. The soldier tensed its bow. The atmosphere was tense. Harun cradled the lion's head. "Don't shoot. If the commander of the faithful finds out you killed his beloved animal without checking this wound, you will be the ones punished." The soldier fell silent. He saw the large wound on the lion's shoulder. He lowered his bow slightly. "How do you know it's a serious wound, not a trick?" Harun sighed. "I don't know, but I know he's in pain, not anger." A crowd began to gather. They whispered. Some were afraid. Others were amazed. But then a young man named Qasim, the son of a major merchant, appeared. He approached with a sneer. "Harun, do you think you're a hero? You're just a poor man who happened to be standing in the wrong place." Harun stared at Qasim without answering. Qasim approached the soldier. "Get rid of this man. Kill the lion. Let the city be safe." Salman held Qasim. "Don't interfere. This man is saving lives, not causing chaos." Qasim pushed Salman's hand away. "Lives? He's just looking for attention." He looked at Harun. Poor people always do things out of desperation. Harun was struck by those words, but he didn't move. He stared at the lion, whose breathing was growing weaker. "I don't care what you say. What I see now is a creature in need of help." The soldier finally spoke. "If you're so sure, prove it. Treat its wounds. Show that this lion isn't a threat." Harun bent down to examine the deep wound on the lion's shoulder. His hands were shaking. He had never touched an animal that large, but he knew there was no turning back. Salman whispered, "Don't be afraid. Your actions will make a difference." Harun looked at the crowd awaiting his decision. That day he had come simply to sell water jugs, but now his life stood between courage and death. And at that point, he realized that the test wasn't about the lion. The test was about whether he had the courage to confront the views of those who belittled him. The lion's wounds needed to be treated, and Harun had to do it. Because no one else wanted to step forward, Harun crouched beside the lion. Blood flowed from the deep wound. The beast's breath hitched. The crowd held its breath. The soldiers kept their bows ready. Qasim stood with a satisfied expression, as if waiting for Harun to fail. Harun gently touched the wound. The lion growled loudly. Harun flinched back. He closed his eyes. "Oh God, I'm afraid." His hands trembled. The sound escaped him. He hadn't intended for anyone to hear it, but everyone heard it. Qasim chuckled. "Look, even he knows he can't." The words cut deeper than the lion's growl. Harun looked at the frightened children at the back of the crowd. He looked at Salman, who nodded encouragingly. He looked up at the sky as if searching for an answer. He knelt again. "If I leave, this animal dies. If I stay silent, the soldiers will shoot. If I act, I might die too." His chest tightened, but he held his breath and approached. The lion stared at him. Its eyes weren't ferocious. They were like human eyes, pleading for help. Harun placed his hand on its head. "I just want to help you." The soldiers prepared to shoot. They shouted, "Hurry! Keep your hands away." Harun didn't care. He tore a rag from his shirt and pressed it gently against the wound. The lion roared loudly. The sound pierced the air of the market. Harun trembled. He crouched as if waiting for an attack. There was no attack. The lion simply writhed in pain. But suddenly, Qasim's footsteps were heard. He advanced, pushing the soldiers away. "Enough! This is a waste of time. I'll end it." He grabbed a spear propped against the wall. He advanced with an angry expression. "This lion must die." People screamed. Salman shouted, "Qasim, stop!" Harun stood and opened his arms to block Qasim. "Don't touch him." Qasim brandished the spear. "Move aside. You're nothing. You're just poor." Your place isn't at the front, but at the bottom." Those words made Harun freeze. He held his breath. The spear was now aimed at his chest. The soldiers didn't immediately stop Qasim because he was the son of a wealthy and respected merchant. Harun felt his back brush against the lion's head. He sensed the beast's heavy breathing behind him. He knew that with one step, the spear could kill him. "If you get in the way again, you'll die first," Qasim said. Harun didn't move. He spoke softly but firmly. "If I have to die protecting a creature that can't defend itself, then so be it." The crowd fell silent. Salman covered his face. The soldiers were confused. Qasim's anger rose. He raised his spear higher. "Are you challenging me?" Harun looked directly into its eyes. "I'm challenging the fear that has held me captive, not you." The lion suddenly let out a loud roar, a roar that shook the ground. Qasim backed away in panic. His spear fell. The crowd screamed. The soldiers prepared to attack. Harun stood between an angry man and a wounded lion, and for the first time in his life, he didn't feel small. He felt like he was at a point that would determine whether his fate remained the same or change forever. The lion rose slowly. Its body was still weak, but its aura had changed. The roar had made everyone retreat. Harun stood beside it, still holding a torn, blood-soaked cloth. He stared at the soldiers and Qasim, who had fallen silent. The market had fallen silent. The lead soldier took 3 steps forward. He raised his bow. "If the lion moves even slightly, we will shoot." Harun stood straight. "Lower the bow. This wound hasn't been treated yet. If you attack, it will become enraged, and the entire market will be in danger." The soldier hesitated. He turned to Qasim. Qasim didn't answer. He was still terrified after the lion had roared right in his face. Harun looked at Salman. "I need water. A clean cloth, too. This wound can be saved." Salman nodded. He ran to get water from a small well near the market. Several women silently handed him a clean cloth. Many eyes stared at Harun with a mixture of fear and respect. Harun carefully cleaned the wound. Every touch made the lion wince, but it didn't attack. He simply stared at Harun with eyes that seemed to beg for trust. Harun whispered, "Calm down. I'm here." When the blood stopped flowing, the lion crouched. His movements were slow, as if he wanted to show his intent. He approached Harun and lowered his body. The people were shocked. Salman covered his mouth. "He told you to get on." The soldier shouted, "Don't do that, that's crazy." Harun touched the lion's mane. He could feel immense strength beneath the animal's hide, despite its wounds. He hesitated. He was poor. He had never been anything more than a potter. He had never imagined riding such a large creature. Salman approached. "Harun, this is no ordinary courage. This is a path opened for you." The people began to whisper. Some said Harun was possessed. Others said he would die within seconds. Still others said he must have received help from heaven. Harun took a deep breath. He stroked the lion's head once more. "If you let me get on, I won't disappoint you." The lion was silent. Only its breathing could be heard. Harun strengthened his resolve. He held the mane with both hands. He lifted his body and slowly climbed onto the lion's back. The market fell silent, as if it were not breathing. The lion stood up, tall, strong. The steps are steady. He walked towards the city gate. Every step made the ground shake. Soldiers follow. People filled the streets to see the incident. Salman walks behind him. He shouted at the people who were still shocked. "Look, this poor man is riding Amir al-Mu'minin's lion." Harun holds the lion's mane. He stared ahead with his chest pounding. He didn't know what was waiting for him in the palace. But one thing he knew. This step will not return him to an ordinary poor man. This step will bring him before the person who holds the highest power in the land, and his life will never be the same again. The lion stopped in front of the palace gates. The guards were surprised to see Harun sitting on the back of Amirul Mu'minin's favorite pet. One of the guards ran in. Not long after, the caliph came out. He stood in simple clothes, but dignified. His eyes immediately fell on the wound on the lion's shoulder. The caliph stepped forward. "Who is the man riding my lion?" Harun went down slowly. His legs almost wobbled from a mixture of fear and disbelief. He looked down. "I'm Harun, the potter from Fustat market." The caliph stared at him for a long time. "Why is my lion with you in this state?" Harun told him everything. Starting from the lion that got loose, the small child who was almost torn apart, the big wound he saw, to his bravery standing between the lion and the soldiers' bows. It doesn't add or subtract anything. After hearing the story, the caliph looked at the soldiers. "Why do you want to shoot an animal that is only injured?" The soldier gasped. "My lord, we are afraid that he will attack the people." The caliph said firmly, "Fear must not give birth to stupidity." He then looked at Harun. "You don't run away. You don't think about your safety. You see wounds quicker than those who are used to holding weapons." The caliph motioned to the palace physician. They came with equipment. The lion was cared for there too. When the healer cleaned the wound, the lion did not struggle. He always looked at Harun as if to acknowledge who saved his life. The caliph approached. "What do you ask for in return?" Harun shook his head. "I'm not asking for anything." Salman, who was standing behind him, was moved to hear that answer. The caliph smiled. "If you don't ask for anything, then you deserve to be given more." He ordered the guards, "Give this man a house. Give him a new pottery workshop. Provide for his family. People who dare to act when others only scream deserve honor." Qasim, who came to the palace, looked down. He didn't dare to lift his face. The caliph glanced at him. "And you, be careful not to look down on someone just because they are poor. Many great hearts are born from hard-working hands." Harun lowered his head deeply. Tears threatened to fall. He never imagined his life would change in one day. The caliph spoke again. "Go, Harun. Build a new life. And remember, your courage is greater than your poverty." When Harun left the palace, the people welcomed him. They spoke of his name. They said that the poor man who once sold water jugs was now an example that poverty does not block anyone's path. Harun paused for a moment at the side of the road. He looked up at the sky. He whispered, "It turns out that one small step can open doors I never imagined." And that was the surprise. The potter, who was thought to be nothing, found his dignity on the back of a wounded lion.